Hi, Jenay. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
I love that we both have fresh faces.
Yes, I still have wet hair. We are just living the
No
dream.
makeup.
Yes.
So I'm so excited for you to share your story. How did you get started? Tell us all about you.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a big question.
Yeah.
Um, I would say to keep it simple, I have a very similar story to it seems yours. We were kind of talking before we hit record, and um, I was on the trajectory of being a corporate leader. I went to school at USC. I did kind of all the standard things that you're supposed to do, that you're told to do. And I just was never fulfilled. I was never happy.
Mhm.
I, struggled with anxiety and depression and a lot of tension and stress and reactivity and just things that were kind of the backbone of my current experience from 0 to 20 years old, 25 years old even. And things just continued, although they seemed to get better. Like I was always able to get a better job, right? I was always able to get a better pay. I was always able to get a promotion or whatever that was that I wanted. Things emotionally and internally always seemed to get worse, or like I couldn't put my finger on what my purpose was, what my passion was. I never felt like I was good at anything. I had so many stories as a kid. Um, and I just really had a lot of limits on myself. And I was really in this place of pleasing everyone else and making sure that, my mom could be proud of me to her friends, and my parents, I was doing what they said. And
Yeah.
I came to a head when I had gotten promoted. I was working at one of the biggest brands probably ever in the world. And I'd gotten promoted. Not only did I get less pay during the promotion because I came from sales, I had a new boss, and it was not a good fit, not a good scenario. I never really liked any boss that I had. I couldn't get with it, with authority and following rules and all those things. So one day we got into an argument. He was yelling at me. I got in my car and I was like, that's it, I quit. And at that point, I had a pretty decent yoga practice. I was just about to get my 500 hours, so my second 300-hour certification. And, yoga was like a really healing modality for me through a lot of traumas and a lot of wounds. And I had started posting random pictures of yoga on Instagram when Instagram was like first coming out. Maybe, yeah. So this was in like 2015, so about 4 years ago almost. And I was certified. I was teaching a little bit on the side, and I said, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to go for it. And so I started teaching yoga. That led to teaching meditation. That led to teaching corporate yoga, corporate meditation. And then I dove deeper into the mental side, the emotional side, the self-mastery portion, right? The other 8 limbs, the other 7 limbs, you could say.
Yeah.
And that just created a launch pad for me. And I just dove really deep into mindset work and started sharing more about that. And I started sharing a lot more around mindset when I got injured. I got injured like 7 months ago. And I bulged a disc in my low back. And so I couldn't practice yoga. And so that was traumatic for sure, but also it led me to really utilize, right, the other skills that I had been building. And now we're at today where I'm, working on my own business and helping women and just showing up and sharing and serving and trying to wake up the world.
Yeah, we have very, very similar stories. I love it. That's probably why our energies were, well, that's why I found you.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial women and even not entrepreneurial women who want to start making changes. What is the first step that you would recommend?
So are these women already entrepreneurs, or are they wanting to be entrepreneurs? Are they the entrepreneurs, so to speak?
Yeah. Let's start with entrepreneurs because
Okay.
that's where we both started.
Absolutely. And I would say I'm still figuring it out, right? Like it's never, like, it's, always keep in mind, especially social media, especially the online space. things can seem one way, right, in our
Yeah.
eyes, and then in another way behind the scenes. So always know that, like, don't compare yourself to another person's journey. It's really like comparing pears and grapes. It's just like just not going to work.
I'm so glad you said that, because I look at your Instagram and I'm like, you have so many followers and you got your shit together, woman.
It's so
I'm
funny.
like, I want to be there. I want to be what she's doing.
It's, oh gosh, especially Instagram. It's a really strange space because it can look like so much, right, on the front end. And it's like, oh, all these 80,000 followers. And then on my end, I'm like, but where are my people, right? So it's like, it really is just perception.
Yeah.
But going back to the entrepreneurs or the women who are feeling called to become entrepreneurs, I would really say the best advice I could give is settle into your passion, or find what that is first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew yoga was a passion, but then I started teaching full time and I hated it. Like, I was exhausted. I wasn't practicing myself, right? My love, my passion had become something else. It was to give to others, right? And I was then neglecting me. So I think walking that fine line of a passion, but knowing that it won't shift too much beyond where you want to take it, right? Or it won't collapse on you, so to speak. So it's a passion that you're 100% behind, and knowing that even if it does shift, you're going to be able to make those changes. But finding your passion or your purpose, I think, is going to be like number one on that list of, you know, don't just quit, throw your hands up in the air and be like, okay, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to figure it out, because it was really scary. And I will tell you, it can still feel hard for me, right? Because I just did it. And it's amazing. And I love that in our space, there's so much motivation. But I would say really intrinsically, like deep down, like connect to your intuition first to be like, okay, what does this feel like? Like, does this feel like something I need to follow? Or am I just trying to rush myself and push myself into something because I want to be that entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. You talk about alignment a lot. What does that mean? And how does someone know that they are in alignment?
Absolutely. So I think alignment is a connection between the soul, the heart, and the mind, right? And if you don't like the word soul, you can say intuition, whatever, you know, highest self, whatever that looks like for you. I use my words very loosely because I think it has to connect. And that's really what it is. It's a connection. So it's knowing that you are in line, you are in alignment, right, with your passion, with your purpose, or with things that are feeling really good. Because a lot of times we're following the mind, right? We're like, get the job, go to school, do the things, all these things. But we're not checking into how it feels, right? We're not asking, okay, does this feel like so much pressure that I'm not going to be happy? Or does this feel like, yes, this is my path? So I think if we can stop listening out, seeing out, all those things, if we can really turn inward a little bit, we can connect deeper to that intuitive nudge. And that's where your alignment exists. And things like numerology, right? So if you start seeing 111, 1111, 222, all these things, like, yeah. So those are really good, simple reminders. You can also, there's a little exercise that I did a couple of years ago that stuck with me. I chose an animal, and that became like my universe sign. So anytime I see a hummingbird, it could be a butterfly, it could be a snail, like it could be whatever resonates for you, a squirrel, I don't know. But for me, it was a hummingbird. And every time I would see a hummingbird, I'm like, okay, yes, you're back in alignment. It's a great little reminder. Like, continue following your heart, you know, especially being an entrepreneur. Like, I'm sure you could relate to this. It is, there could be more pressure, right? Because you don't have someone who's keeping you accountable, right? You don't have a perfect outline of everything that you're supposed to do, right? You can't foresee the obstacles coming. And when they do come, you're a little bit on your own. So it's definitely something to prepare for and really get strong in your energy.
Yeah. And entrepreneurship is so much more emotional than I thought it was. It's
100%.
all emotional.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And some days I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it. And other days I'm like, what am I doing?
Literally every hour I go back and forth. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right with the symbols. Like, I see mine as a butterfly, and I see butterflies, and then 1111. I've just been seeing that everywhere.
Awesome.
Maybe it's the energy of LA. I don't know.
I think once you see it once, you start seeing it all the time. Like a year ago, I don't really remember seeing a lot. And now it's like every day. I'm like, oh, 222, oh, 444. Okay. Even if I can't pick myself up and I'm not feeling confident, or I'm not feeling really strategic in that moment, I just use that as a little reminder to kind of keep pushing me forward. I'm like, okay, you got this. You know, like it's those little things that can make a big difference.
Yeah. One question that I get a lot, and I'm curious to hear your answer, is like when you are starting out and you're an entrepreneur and you have to worry about money, how do you feel about money?
It's an interesting question. I think that a lot of us carry these limiting beliefs and old stories around money. As a society, even, we really carry it. So breaking that open, and shifting your beliefs around money and your beliefs that money has to be hard, it doesn't grow on trees, a penny saved is a penny earned, right? All of these things that we're taught at a deep level, that are really lacking, and they're rooted in scarcity, and they create a lot of fear. And so shifting your money mindset is really important. And when I first started studying law of attraction, manifestation, that kind of opened the floodgates for me of like, okay, we live in an infinite universe. Abundance is our birthright. And it's really just up to me to shift my energy and my belief systems to match the frequency of abundance of everything that I desire. Yeah. Because I really, really am a big believer in the quantum field, where like everything already exists in kind of an alternate space. And all I have to do is get my energy attuned to that, or in alignment with it, so that I can receive it. Okay. I really believe like it's all in our own. We all have the power, yes. But we've been so stripped of that it can take, months, years of practice and really implementation of, no, this is my new money mindset. My work is of high service. I'm deserving of massive compensation. Like I give my gifts to the world and I'm compensated highly, like whatever that is for you, really utilizing that as a new money mindset.
Yeah. So for you, is it just talking to yourself? Like, how do you get there?
Yeah. I do a lot of journaling around if I'm feeling scarce or lack, and I ask myself why. I talk kind of to my highest self, or my intuition, or my soul, again, whatever you want to call it, God, source, infinite intelligence. I think it's all the same. I don't think it really matters what name you want to put it, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever. Mm-hmm. For me, it's really like there's an infinite intelligence. It's far greater beyond myself. And even if that's my higher version of me, like talk to that person, journal, ask questions, be inquisitive, and I think also just be open. Mm-hmm. We're taught like to be so frigid and have this rigidity in our lives of like everything has to go a certain way, and that's exhausting, and that puts so much pressure, and there's so much tension just even in the air, right? And that's where we get all this anxiety and all this fear because we're worried that things are going to happen the way that we want them to. But what if the only thing that's wrong is just really our perception of what's happening? And It's not that those things are wrong. It's just that we're perceiving them to be wrong. And so therefore we're not able to learn the lesson and really extract what we're supposed to take from that experience. So with me, I definitely use mantras a lot. And mantras is just Sanskrit word for affirmations. Yeah. And affirmations are used really, they're more powerful in repetition. Mm-hmm. So I will read my mantras every morning, maybe again at night. I will write new mantras if I'm feeling like a little bit, again, disconnected. And I just get myself into the energy of abundant freedom, right? Happiness, fulfillment, service. Like figure out what the qualities of your life are that you want to live, right? So I want to be in service, right? And I want to be abundant. So those are the things that I'm going to know that if I'm not feeling that way, I have to get myself into feeling that way.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, because I say the same thing too, but that's like faking it.
I don't think so. So I definitely, there's like a fake it till you make it attitude. Mm-hmm. But if you deep down feel a call and you feel a nudge that says, yeah, something about that feels right. Mm-hmm. And even if your mind doesn't believe it, that's what you're doing. You're reconnecting your soul, your heart center to your mind. Right now there's a disconnect. So that's why things are confusing, right? You might feel something, but you're not following that feeling. So that's why you're freaking miserable. And you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't like what I'm doing. Yeah. So connect the dots, right? Between how you're feeling and what you're doing. And if those aren't on the same playing field, there's nothing wrong with using a tool to help get you kind of connection, to connect those dots for you. Yeah. So affirmation, it's what you know deep down that is true. You're just not connected to it right now. So I don't think there's anything that's faking it. I think that it's enveloping the energy of what you want and what you desire. And that's really the only way that I see fit for us to be able to get the things that we want. Because if your head always says that you're faking it and you never make that connection to your heart of like, no, this is right. Like, this is what I want to do. And this is a tool I'm going to use to get me there. How do you ever expect to get there? And when you do get there, you're going to end up like one of these celebrities or one of these super famous athletes or whoever, these billionaires that are so unhappy that they're hurting themselves or taking their own lives, right? They're cheating other people. So money doesn't matter if you're not fulfilled and you're not in your alignment of activating from your highest good.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things that Tony Robbins said during his event was money without fulfillment is, I forget what the like equation was, but
pointless.
Yeah, pointless. It's actually not a dream. It's like your nightmare.
Yeah.
You might have already answered this question, but you're a mindset and self-mastery coach. So what is your tip for beginning to shift your mindset? Like, I remember in 2016, I was like at the height of my depression. I was like drinking a lot. I was just self-sabotaging myself. I was not in a good place. The only thing I knew was that I wanted to change. What would you tell Laura in 2016?
That desire, she's worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Like there's no, we make ourselves struggle and we like to blame other people. We like to play the victim. That's our ego really rising. And so I think having compassion first and foremost is so important, especially if you're feeling depressed, suppressed, repressed feelings, anything like anxiety, overwhelm, depression, any of that. Really have compassion first. Second of all, get clear, right? What do I want? Like, what do I really want? If money wasn't an issue, if I didn't have to answer to anybody, if it wasn't so hard or difficult for me to see this come into reality, what would I be doing? What would I have? Where would I go? What would I act like? And that girl, that Laura, that version of Laura that you are wanting, she can exist, right? And then you've got a roadmap for sort of how to get there. And it helps like a clear outline. I think also creating certainty in your life and letting go of the things that aren't serving you first and foremost, right? So getting clear on what you want, then you can kind of compare that to, okay, well, what am I not doing right now? Why am I not having these things? Why am I not feeling this way, right? If let's say Laura in 2016 was really scarce and fearful, and Laura of 2020 is abundant as fuck, right? Like she's amazing. She has everything she wants. How can you get there? Once you have an outline for each thing, how am I acting right now? Who am I hanging out with? What are the things that I'm doing that don't make me feel good? Why is my job not fulfilling me, et cetera, et cetera. And then again, comparing that to the highest version of you who has all of the things that she wants. She has an incredible career, an awesome job that she loves. She's helping people. She's standing high in her truth, et cetera. When you can compare those two, it becomes really easy, right? For our monkey mind, our human mind to say, oh, okay, I can just follow these steps and start to go there.
Yeah.
And again, that connection we talked about, right? The intuitive connection also is important for when our mind starts to get foggy and when our ego starts to pop up and it says, but you're not worthy of these things. How are you going to get there? How are you going to make money, right? We worry about the how, but in reality, that's just an easy way for our ego to stress us out because the how is not as important as the why. Right? Again, like I think Tony had also touched on this, but this is something I'd kind of learned before him, but it's a really important, powerful piece of this puzzle is really what do I want to do for the world, right? Who do I want to serve and why do I want to do it? And worrying about the how second, letting the how kind of figure itself out because it will. Right? Things align for us when we step up and say, this is what I want, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there. But a lot of us are not willing to do the work, right? And that's okay. But honoring that space and saying, okay, this doesn't feel right for me. I don't feel like I'm ready. There must be something more for me to learn.
Yeah. I think right now I'm like trying to find the balance of work, and then surrender. Cause like, I think my initial my default, because I'm from New York and I worked in finance, is like work, but then like I understand that there's a bit of surrendering that I need to do and like take a step back.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we allow ourselves to be supported and we allow ourselves to surrender, I think that we begin to co-create versus trying to force things to happen. And, you know, when we rely on our own strength all the time, we're going to struggle. And that's just the bottom line, right? And that's one of those lessons of, I say this all the time, I'm like, if you really want to change, right, invest in yourself. Do something that's going to help you get to where you want to go. And don't worry about the fact that you're spending fucking money. Money is just energy. Money wants to come to you, but you're not letting it come to you because you're keeping it in a freaking cage.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I was thinking about this other day, like the word savings. Like it feels so bad to say, right? But I think Amanda Francis says like, you know, stacking the cash money. I'm like, oh, that feels fun. That feels awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So it really is kind of allowing the subtle energies of things to show you the way, if that makes sense.
It does. And it's even hard for me now because I'm still deprogramming my mind. Like I was raised to have like a 401k and an IRA and a savings and a bond and a blah, blah, blah and a blah, blah, blah. And it's like people don't invest in themselves. Like people invest in like houses and cars and shit like that. Like, and I'm still trying to deprogram my mind because I have this like idea that, you know, we have to invest in our future in terms of money instead of investing in ourselves right now.
I think they're equivalent. And I think that it's just a breakdown in communication. And we have to realize that our parents are of a different generation, right? Like their parents went through, their parents and their parents and their parents went through like Great Depressions, right? And we've seen that, but we've also bounced back quicker. And I think what's really important is that you are experiencing your life. No one else can experience it for you. So what the heck is the point of waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 more years and then being in the same emotional or mental space you're in now, right? Which is like confused, not happy, not fulfilled. You're feeling like life is really hard. Everything's out to get you. Of course this would happen, right? All of those really scarce fear-based beliefs. But if you spend, let's say, $500 in a year from now, you're going to, that money is going to be nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And I think when we really start to shift our mindset around finances and money, we become more abundant almost automatically because we get into the energy of desiring versus just wanting, right? Wanting things is the energy of not having. And it's taking those steps towards, okay, I desire this and I'm going to make sure it freaking happens. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. Like you hear all of these stories, right, of these entrepreneurs that sunk in every penny they had into this coach. And then they ended up, you know, now they have a $500,000 business.
Yeah.
And those things are so powerful for a reason. But it's like, if you're not willing to spend a little bit on you, what's the point of having a lot?
Yeah. So how do you feel about debt? I get asked this question a lot.
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. I'm like definitely not a financial guru. I'm like not a money coach. I love understanding the energy of money. And I think that it's not biased. If you desire money, money will desire you. It's just about finding the right avenue. So with debt, I think it can be, you know, really important to allow yourself to believe that it is possible for paying that off to be easy, because we don't really ever know where money comes from. There are so many different opportunities for us. Like let's say, right, it's tax season. You could get randomly, in quotes, some amazing tax break that you didn't even know about, right? And then all this money comes flowing in and you can use that to pay off your debt. Yeah. So I think that we forget that money likes to be creative, and it necessarily doesn't have to be like so stringent as far as, oh my God, I have all of this debt. I don't know what to do. I'm going to get really scared and I'm going to allow that fear to permeate into the rest of my life. Right? Versus, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm super grateful. I'm going to send gratitude out with every bill that I'm paying because it means that I'm circulating into the economy, right? Someone is giving me a service and I'm going to pay them and I'm going to be grateful for that because money likes that kind of energy. So it's like, how are you perceiving that debt? Are you perceiving it as a huge weight? Are you perceiving it as something that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, right? Because that's the story that you're writing. So, and I know this can be hard to hear and this might be triggering for someone, but everything that I'm saying is coming out of love and compassion and wanting all of us to be a little bit more woke because things can be easy. Who said they have to be hard? I think it's really like a mind fuck. It's really a trick, right? To keep us all playing kind of small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at the way that you're perceiving that debt, and are you respecting it? Are you paying off a little bit every month? Or are you buying stupid crap like shoes and going out to eat and getting drunk at the bar and spending $50, $60 on drinks? You know what I mean? Like there's small shifts that you can make. And I also think having respect and having gratitude and sending out blessings and gratefulness every time you're paying that off little by little is going to make you feel a lot better.
Yeah. I also think Amanda Francis says that debt is not bad. She was like the first person that ever said that. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's true, right? What is it? It's just an accumulation of spent energy, resources, time, money. I think all our resources, we can have a wealth of resources. We live in an infinite universe. You know, I've been doing this practice lately where I do phoneless or screenless walks, and I just really try and like settle into my body first thing in the morning, wake up, look at my space, express gratitude. My feet are helping me move. I'm taking breath, right? I'm alive another day. And then I spend time looking up. I look up at the trees. I look up at the flowers blooming. I look up at the sky. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a reminder of how infinite this place is. You know, like really, when was the last time you took a step back, and regardless of anything you're going through, and you just looked up and you're like, wow, it's beautiful. This is amazing. I can have everything that I want. And it's just about me rewriting my programs in my mind to believe that. And it's true. Like if you would have told Jenay 2 years ago, she would quit her job and she'd have a multiple 5-figure launch in the first launch of her business, she wouldn't believe you, right? But it doesn't mean that there's not still some turbulence or a learning curve to come. And I have changed my belief systems around my own suffering and my own struggles. Whereas I used to think, oh, why me? This sucks. Now I think, wow, I must be someone really important to go through all of this now, because it's going to help me support a lot of people.
Yeah. It's like the change in mindset. Yeah.
There are 2 things that we are in charge of in this world. Only 2 things, right? It's our perception and our reactions. That's it. And if you spend time really becoming aware and mindful of those 2 things, how can I look at this differently? How can I experience this differently, right? Am I willing to experience or see this differently? You can create a whole new trajectory and a whole new pathway for yourself.
So you talked about your daily practice. Can you talk more about that? Like, how do you spend your days getting into this beautiful state?
Yeah, I mean, this is something I'm still working on fine-tuning, because I think our mind is a tool, right? But we were not really taught to become the master of this tool. And I think that's why I've become really obsessed with self-mastery, because if we're not operating our mind, then who is? Right? Like you're not the only thinker in your mind. I don't believe that's true. I think the ego is a big thinker of our mind, right? Which is that subconscious belief systems from 0 to 10 years old about that time, where we're programmed by family, teachers, everything we see in the world, siblings, all that stuff. And that now is kind of articulating how we live our lives. So, but we have free will, which is really important. So I think creating new systems for myself, and this also for the listeners and for you, think about what brings you joy, because I don't think that abundance can flourish if we're not experiencing joy. Yeah. Right? So even for me, like something as small as a screenless walk in the morning, and it takes me about 30 minutes to go all around the block. And that's amazing. That's really grounding for me. I also ground every single day. So I go barefoot outside into my yard and in the grass, or I go to the park. Yeah, it's really, really important. Especially in this like Aries energy, which can be very like air quality and free and floaty away. Ground and get connected to the earth. That's really, really important for me. Meditation, right? Just again, settling in. And I think knowing your perceived weaknesses, in air quotes, what are the things that you can shift? Where can you do better? Where do you want to do better? And then implementing a practice to help keep you on the straight and narrow in that way. Because a lot of times if we aren't making changes in our lives, and we get down on ourselves and we become this like big emotional mess, when it really has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is the fact that we're just not articulating or implementing changes, right? Things to help us change. So self-practices, rituals, whatever you want to call them, we should all have at least a 30-minute ritual in the morning, for sure, to help you kind of like start your day. I like to take at least like an hour.
Yeah.
And I'll do my walk and I'll sit in a meditation. I'll light some Palo Santo, maybe I'll journal. And then I do, at night, I like to read a little bit, and then I like to express gratitude, and I'll write a little bit as well, either like affirmations that come to my mind or goals that I have right now within my business, or, to attract more clients or to serve higher, like whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. So I believe in the power of words. So where do you want to be in 5 years? Like what is your dream?
Oh, so last night I got the opportunity to see Marianne Williamson, who's running for president in 2020. And she's a huge source of inspiration for me. Her books have totally changed my life. I would aspire to be doing something similar. I don't ever want to run for candidacy, but what I would like to do is, bring this self-mastery, self-development, mindful, emotional intelligence work to our generation, to millennials everywhere, especially young women, who I think, we are so sensitive, but we can be so fragmented and have our dreams stripped away at a really young age, right? We're like really capped. And I want every woman to feel limitless and be able to step into her potential with ease and grace. So I would really like to, be speaking on stages. I would love to touch millions of women's hearts worldwide, right? Like, isn't that the goal, is really to serve on a big scale? I mean, at least for me, that's really what I would like to do in whatever form is going to serve like the greatest good.
That's beautiful. This whole podcast is about, living your dream life, whatever that means to you. What is your definition of a dream life?
Fulfillment, for sure. Love, like limitless love, joy. I think it looks different for everyone, but I think if we can all find a sense of like inner peace and a quality of joy, and we can express both of those daily, we're going to be doing really well.
Yeah, the world will be a better place.
Yeah. And, when people talk about money or wealth or abundance, that is the same energy. Like, gratitude is the same energy as money. So you want money? Be grateful.
Yeah.
Be grateful for the things that we have, because, when I went to listen to Marianne speak last night, she opened my eyes to people in my same city, right, who don't even have enough like money to be able to afford lunch. And then they're told that their school doesn't deserve a social worker. These things in my own hometown. And it's like, whoa, let's take a step back and really be grateful. I live in a home with a husband and a nice car, and I can go anywhere, anytime. Like, we have so much to be grateful for. And I think we really take it for advantage. So just, being grateful.
Yeah. Well, I just want to honor you because like you are doing the work that I feel like we were all on this planet to do, is actually to help each other and inspire each other. I mean, it looks different in different ways, like it could be music, it could be art, it could be whatever. But I honestly think at the end of the day, we're all here to live as one and to inspire each other. So thank you so much. I honor you and your work. And I cannot wait to see what happens in the next 5 years. Because like I said, words have power.
Yes, they do. They carry a lot of frequency, a lot of energy. So thank you. And I mean, it's amazing what you're doing as well, and spreading this message and bringing light, right, to women who are walking in their purpose. And it may not always look easy, and it may be, an adventuresome path, but just approaching it with as much light and excitement as you do, I think is super inspiring. And we're all here to uplift each other 100%, because really, in reality, we're all one. We're all one mind. And
yes, exactly.
So thank you.
Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, find me on Instagram at Namaste Jenay. I have a podcast as well for spiritual self-development called Align Your Life. And you can learn more about my programs either just by direct messaging me or namastejenay.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Such a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Yeah.